Hi guys, all the CAT 2021 aspirants are out there. A warm welcome to this session. Hope you guys are doing fine and hope you guys are staying safe, staying indoors. Now, this is something which is going to inspire you, motivate you, and yes, we are going to hear right from the horse's mouth, as we generally do in the interviews. So, I'm going to take you over to this gentleman who has finally converted his calls and he did brilliantly well in the exam. But before that, guys, I would like to inform you that yes, this particular interview is going to focus on the ups of a watertight preparation. Like in my earlier interview, there was an angle that I had given to how important are interviews, the actual interviews before you kind of make a conversion. That this particular session of mine with this particular gentleman, this charming gentleman, is going to talk about the ups of a watertight preparation. What do I mean by that? Well, it's the journey. So when you are preparing for your upcoming exam, you really need to take everything in your stride. Plus, you need to be consistent, persistent, and you have to have that go-getter attitude, right? So before moving on to the person, let me just give you the quick announcements. There's this Ask It Out feature on Unacademy. Please unlock it by using the referral code Shabana Live. You'll be able to ask any doubt over there, of course, related to your exam, and then I think that'll be good for you. This is India's biggest weekly scholarship test. So get yourselves enrolled if you haven't done it yet. And this one is the bumper offer for CAT 21. The iconic CAT 21, which is a one-on-one mentorship program. And you never know when you may feel the requirement for a mentor along the way, along your journey. So if you feel this is suitable, just go for it, guys. All right, now over to this. This sweet little boy was born in Goa. So actually now the person is kind of gallivanting. The person is strolling on the beaches of Goa with like a kind of that attitude. He's actually strutting around. पहले he used to kind of listen to his papa का scolding, mama का scolding, पढ़ नहीं रहे हो, तुम क्या करोगे, तुम्हारा कुछ dream है कि नहीं है, goal है कि नहीं है. But in the heart of his hearts, he knew that there was a goal. There was a dream that he was nurturing. And all along, he kind of clung on to that dream. He wanted to reach there so badly that he left no stone unturned. So this lad from Goa, Amey Nagvekar, who scored a whopping 98.45 percentile in CAT 2020, has finally managed to convert IIM Indore, that is the I in Blackie, right? And N means Mumbai. He's a mechanical engineer with a 14-month work X in aero engine analysis. So without further ado, I'll take you over to him, and then the rest of the story is something that he himself is going to tell us. Straight from Goa, and it's over to Amey. Hi, Amey. Welcome to the session.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for having me over.
All right, it's a real pleasure, and thank you for taking out the time for us. So,
Yes.
Amey, I can see that you are sitting alone in the room, and there is a lot of silence. I think of Papa, Mummy, चैन की नींद सो रहे हैं because they have realized that बेटा पहुंच गया जहां उसने पहुंचना था.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how are they feeling? Are they ecstatic? That goes without saying. I think they must be euphoric.
Yeah, yeah. It was a dream come true, not only for me, but for my parents as well. They are
Uh-huh.
equally delighted and happy that I've made it through to the IIM.
Mm-hmm. And did they specifically believe right from the beginning that you would make it to the IIMs, or did they, or somewhere along the way, did they lose hope that ये कुछ नहीं तुम पढ़ नहीं रहे हो सही से, something is going to go wrong? What had happened?
No, they believed in me right from the start. Actually, right from the schooling days. My dream initially, when I was in the 11th and 12th, I wanted to get into an IIT, but that could not come because I messed up in one of the exams. But finally today the day has come that I have converted into an IIM. So
Yes.
finally I have fulfilled their dream and my dream as well of
Okay.
studying into the top institutes of India.
Did you always want Indore, or you had kind of thought about ABC, the Holy Trinity, and then somehow like kind of you settled for Indore because that was the call that you got?
Actually, I wanted to get into one of the top IIMs. So from my seniors, what I had heard is that the old IIMs, the top six, are the best to get into. And of course, my aim was for ABC, but I am content with getting into Indore.
Yes,
I'm
you
very
should
happy.
be. You should be
Yes.
definitely, because we all know that earlier it was black. The most coveted IIMs was BLS CK. But now, off late, we have
Yes.
seen Blackie. So Indore is definitely one of the most prestigious IIMs out there. So you should really be on top of the world field. You should really kind of cherish this feeling that yes, I've converted IIM Indore. Now, all along the preparation journey, Amey, what did you feel was a kind of, I would say, a hindrance, or what came as a roadblock somewhere along the way? It can be your attitude, or it can be the not conducive environment at home, or maybe it was like something else, anything that came as a hindrance.
So as far as the preparation goes, um, I'll start off with when I started with my CAT preparation. So in March, I was working in a company. I worked for 14 months, and then in March, due to the pandemic, I had to leave my job, and
Okay.
because of that, actually, I came back to Goa. And then I had a month. For a month, I was just deciding what to do with my life in the future. So that's when I decided to study for MBA, because it was always my dream in college, but I wanted to get a work experience of 1 or 2 years, and then I wanted to do an MBA. So the COVID came as a blessing in disguise for me, and I started off with my preparation. But after that, I was when I looked at the syllabus, I was comfortable in the quantitative part because I was always good in aptitude right from school days, and
Mhm.
because of my engineering, I had a upper head in the math section.
Right.
Also, LRDI was comparatively easier for me, but the difficult part was the VIRC section, where I struggled a lot throughout my mocks.
Okay, so
But
that was the stumbling block. That was like
yeah,
the area where you kind of felt a little insecure. Okay.
yes,
And okay, now going back to your this thing, the work X thing. You have about 14 months of experience with this
yes,
particular company. And you said you had initially planned it that way, that okay, after taking a 1 or 2 year experience, then you would go for it. And this came as a blessing in disguise. Uh, why do you think it is important for a person to have some kind of work X and then get into the CAT preparation?
okay. So coming to that, I wanted to do specialization in operations, which I
Mhm.
had actually studied in my third and fourth year of mechanical engineering.
Okay.
So what I had heard from my seniors and also my teachers who were teaching in the college, that if I work in an industry, I would understand what is taught in an MBA better to me, because I can actually relate it to what is being done in an industry, especially in the operations field. So how the
Okay.
supply chain works and how the operations are done in an industry. If I am actually working and then if I do an MBA, it's better to understand, and also it gives you an upper end in the interviews, because
All
I had a
right.
lot of questions asked regarding my work ex, which I could answer very easily because I'd actually gone through the full process.
All
I was
right.
comfortable answering those questions, and that's how it helped me.
So that actually worked to your advantage. That is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes,
And I
definitely.
understand you had not appeared for CAT 2019,
Yes, this was my first attempt.
your first attempt. Okay. Do you feel that people who have taken the CAT earlier, and if they are going for the second attempt, have a certain kind of advantage and maybe they are going to perform better?
They would have a certain advantage in the sense that they will know what strategy has not worked for them the first time,
Mhm.
so that they can work on that strategy and maybe change it a little bit so that it suits their needs, and they can finally get a better score the next year around.
Okay.
In that sense, I think it will help to change
Somehow,
the strategy.
yeah, they get an edge over others just in terms of
Yes,
strategy. Now, let's come to
yes,
this strategy point. Now we are kind of funneling down to the main thing. So you said strategy. So you were a first timer, right? So
yes.
what strategy did you go for and why? I mean, what made you believe that, okay, this is the right strategy? Who guided you and what did you do?
I'll start off from when I joined Unacademy. It was in the May of 18th when I taken a plus membership, and it took me around 10 to 15 days to decide which educators to follow. And then finally, when I decided on which educators to follow, for VRC, I initially started off with Himanshu Das sir and Anupam Mishra.
Right.
So Anupam Mishra sir's classes, he had a genre series in which I got familiarized with different topics of VRC, say
Right.
history, say about communism, say psychology, so Freudian theory. I was familiarized with all of these topics. So whenever I saw an RC, I was not aware of the topic. So I somewhere in the back of the head, I'd read it before. So it was easier for me to comprehend. So I got familiarized with different genres. As far as Himanshu Das sir's classes are considered, I was attending his GMAT course, which
Right.
helped me a lot with the grammar and the vocabulary part, and also the VA section. And then finally, after 2 months, I think I started attending your classes. And then when I came to know about the POE, process of elimination, the Super 100 course, and all of this was my content for the VRC section. After gaining all of this knowledge, I tried different strategies. Firstly, I tried to solve more RCs, giving more time for RCs and less time for VA, trying one RC, then VA, then one more RC, again VA. But after trying all the strategies, I came to the conclusion that my strong area is VA, and I don't have that much of an accuracy in the RC section.
Right.
So on the D day, I attempted 2.5 RCs, and I attempted all of the VA questions, and I ended up scoring more in VA. So that was my VA RC strategy. And also, one more thing that I would like to mention is that I had not read a single novel before CAT, and also during the preparation, I did not read any books as such. But I kept a dictionary for myself. So whatever new words I came across, I would just jot down the words, write the meanings, and read that every night before going to sleep. So I knew the word meanings of most of the words which I used repeatedly in the RCs, and also the main grammar points. I would keep reading them. So that's how I strengthened my VARC section.
Okay,
As far, yes.
let me ask you to pause over here and let me recap this part for the viewers, for the audience. See, you said that you did not read novels all along the way. That is fine. But something you must have read. You must have kind of read editorials or something. I don't know what. What was it that you kind of want to?
Actually, instead of reading editorials, I spent that time in solving one more RC. Okay. So that's what my approach was. And also, as far as the editorials goes, the last 1 month of preparation, during that time, ma'am, you had the YT sessions on the Guardian and the New York Times. Right. So that helped me understand the tone of the passage, all of the RC factors, as well as stay up to date with the current affairs. And that was very important for the interviews. Right. So I would suggest the students to read the newspapers, because that will be a two-way benefit. They'll be updated with the current affair, as well as to get to know the tone of the author, and the reading will increase.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I would like to just recap this particular section, whatever he said, whatever he kind of emphasized on. See, guys, this was about VARC, and since that is my section, I am definitely happy to hear that he used to kind of follow the YT session. So that is the first thing that I would like to say. And trust me, मैंने अमे को कोई भी पैसे नहीं दिए ये बोलने के लिए कि YT sessions को आके यहाँ पे promote करो and बोलो कि हाँ YT sessions help me. No. So, but he said that he had watched YT sessions for the last 1 month, and those had helped him gauge the tone and the flow. And as I keep saying, the YT sessions are just baby steps towards your actual RCs, and they just kind of help you assess. Okay, so keep watching those, and definitely they help you come up in terms of your general knowledge. As I keep saying, expand your horizons. So every single day we come up with a different topic, and even if you read the editorials yourselves, you're going to come up with like a vast array of topics, and that will help you in the long run, and especially in the interviews. Now, there is one thing, guys, that I would like to emphasize. Amey had a different approach. he focused more on the VA section and not so much on RCs. Okay. So this proves the point that one size fits all is not there in VARs. It totally depends on your caliber and your command. I mean, if just like Amey, if you feel that RCs are not your cup of tea, you can go for VA. You can probably get your head around PJs and short summaries and all, right? But on the other hand, if you are that kind of a reader who really enjoys passages, who really enjoys editorials, go for RCs. So again, it's like a kind of a bespoke thing. It depends on what you want. Okay, Amey, that was wonderful. Now let's move on to the next section and the strategy that you had adopted for DI. Let's move on to that.
Yes. So for DI, I would suggest solving as many sets as possible because you have to keep practicing. And the most important part in LRDI would be the set selection. I will talk about on the day of the CAT what happened. I selected one set which I was able to solve, and the second set which I selected, I spent 10 minutes on that set and I did not get a single answer. So that was a setback for me, but I made it up in the next 20 minutes by moving on and not getting stuck on that set. I moved on to another set and I solved two more sets. And finally, I ended up solving 12 questions and I got 11 of them right.
Okay.
So the key takeaway I would say is that your set selection, and you shouldn't get arrogant and try to solve that one set which you cannot solve on the exam. If you can't solve it, just let it go and solve another set. And also you have to solve so many sets that you are familiarized with what approach you have to use. And you should not be scared of making cases. There are multiple sets which require you to make multiple cases. Never get scared of making cases because finally you will get the answer.
Okay, tell me one thing. You said that in the first set you had spent a lot of time and then you realized that you were not getting the answers. Do you think,
Yes.
how much time do you think a student should devote to one set before realizing that this is not going to work out?
Given that the time for each section is 40 minutes, I don't think at max to max 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes, you cannot give to a set and not get an answer. That is the maximum. But after 3 to 4 minutes, you have to realize that you cannot solve the set and you have to move on to the other set.
All right. And how many
Yes.
sets do you get in DI section generally?
I think there were around 6 sets for our
Okay.
paper, and I solved 3 sets.
Okay. So you
I solved
feel
3
that
sets.
you feel that if a person solves 3 sets out of 6 with great accuracy, that is enough. You don't need to kind of move on to the fourth one and fifth one and scramble around him.
Yes, so by solving 3 sets, I was able to get a 97 percentile in at LRDI. But if you solve 4 sets, then you can easily touch the 99 percentile mark.
Right.
Because there won't be anyone who will be solving all 6 sets. So 4 sets will be a 99 percentile, according to me.
Okay. And you did not get time for that fourth set, right?
No, ma'am. That's what I wasted around 8 minutes in one set and I did
Yes.
not get any answer.
Yes. Okay. So, guys, let me sum this up for you. In the DI section, he feels that you should not take it on your ego. That, okay, this particular set, things are not falling in place. I can see that, okay, I'm not getting the answers, but no, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? मतलब मुझे तो solve करना ही है. I'm a DI champ. So don't take it on your ego. Don't take it personally. भैया वो exam है. Sometimes it can be the wrong one for you. Not all sets are going to be good for you. This is what Amey said. So you have to have that ability to identify the right sets. Okay. And then after that, he said that you can probably give 3 to 4 minutes to a particular set, and you should be able to feel that, okay, this is not working out, so it's high time I moved on. Okay. And he said one more thing about the DI section, that out of 6 sets, nobody thinks of doing all the 6 sets. It's better to just kind of focus on 4 with full accuracy and then. Right, Amey? I think I have kind of summed it up. All right, let's move on to the third section, QA.
Yes. So coming to QA, I was relatively comfortable in the QA sections compared to the other two.
Yeah, your aptitude, your knack for aptitude, I remember. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So initially, till from May to August, I spent maximum time in gaining the content knowledge. I tried to cover as many topics as possible, and then I started giving mocks.
Okay.
And my strategy for the QA section was that I would run through all the questions in the first round. Whatever questions I felt that I could do, that I had seen earlier, I would solve it in the first go. Whichever questions I feel that will uh, take some more time, I would just mark it. And certain questions which I knew that I could not solve, I would leave it. So that would be my first run. So that would take around 30 minutes out of the total 40. And the remaining 10 minutes, I would go back to the star marked questions. But to develop this ability to be able to identify which questions I can do in the first run and which I can do in the second run and the ones which I cannot, you have to practice a lot. So I used to practice every day around 30 to 35 questions of quant, and you have to be in a position to see the question and know that I've done this before, so I can do it again. You have to develop that kind of ability for the quant section, because there won't be any question in the quant section which you have never ever seen before. The concept will be similar, the numbers might be changed, approach will be a little different, but you have to identify what the main approach is and what the basics are. That is the key in QA, I feel.
Okay. So to sum it up, what he did in QA was he did this thing called what I call in my RC classes layering, VARC. I mean, he said the first run. That means in the first 30 minutes, assuming that, okay, you divide the entire paper into sections of 40 minutes each, he did the first run, which lasted about 30 minutes. In those 30 minutes, he identified the key questions, what should I say, the high yield questions, the short questions. He ran through those, and then he went back to those questions which were like kind of a little ambiguous. He had star marked those. And then he went through those questions, the remaining questions. And of course, he also says this, that you have to put in a lot of practice for QA, because you will kind of get something familiar. It will be definitely familiar, and just by one look at the questions, you should be able to understand that, okay, this is that technique, this is that formula, this is that particular kind of question that I have done. Right, Amey? Okay. So I can see that he had adopted
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
3 different strategies for all the 3 different sections. This is something very interesting, Amey. It's like, a stark difference between the strategies. Okay. So guys, the audience, all of you out there, this was about the strategy. I'm sure you all must be dying to know his daily schedule, because he just now talked about practicing for QA, and he said that at least 30 to 35 questions he used to practice on a daily basis. Let's ask him, our horse, how he used to practice on a daily basis. Chalo, Amey, tell us about it.
Yes, ma'am. So actually, I got a lot of time every day to practice. So I would spend around 8 to 10 hours on my CAT preparation. But all of this 8 to 10 hours was my on-screen time, because my strategy was to watch more video lectures rather than solving from a book, because I had tried that technique. I watched video lectures, and for the remaining time I would try to solve booklets or sheets, but I realized that I'm not giving that much time for the sheets, and I and the lectures which I watch are more efficient. I get more out of it, because sticking to one educator will give you a certain approach to a problem, but if you watch another, if 2 more educators, you know how they will approach the problem, and then you can choose whatever is most suitable for you.
Whatever works for you, yes.
Yeah, whichever technique works best for you. So that's what I did. From morning till night, I around 8 to 10 hours I spent on Unacademy, and I gave equal time for all 3 sections every day. And I would practice the questions during class. And I had made notes for Lrdi and quant of Ravi Prakash sir's classes. The notes which I had revised towards the last 1 or 2 months. Before that, I just kept making notes and practicing from Unacademy only, and no other books or sheets, nothing else, just Unacademy material. And also every day in the last 3 months, I would give sectionals of VARC, Lrdi, and quant. And on every Sunday, I would give full length mocks. Yes.
Okay.
And for full.
Sorry,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you, how many RC passages would you practice on a daily basis?
Around, I think I started off with around 2 RCs and then moved to three to four RCs.
Okay. And in spite of solving so many RCs, in spite of doing so many maths questions, you still managed to fit everything into your schedule. That was like
Yes.
something, yeah, that was something good. That was exemplary, because many times I hear people crying about this point, that okay, we are running short of time, we are not able to squeeze everything into our schedule, and especially the people who are working. And as you said, now okay,
Yes.
8 to 10 hours was your screen time, and then you kind of divided it among different educators, just so that you could get the best, and you wanted to see what worked best for you. Okay, that
Yes.
was good. And you said you had followed Ravi sir's notes for QA, right?
QA, yes, and LRDI.
LRDI also, of course. How important are notes in LRDI section?
So in LRDI, these notes, what happens is there are many sets which can be solved using a certain approach,
Hmm.
and we had done around 400 sets over a span of 6 months.
Yeah.
So when I was in the fourth month, say, I forgot the approach of the set which I had done on the very first day.
All right.
So keeping the notes and revising them just kept me in touch with the approach to solve the sets. Similar to what I said in the QA section, whenever
Mhm.
you see a problem, whenever you see a set, it should not come as a surprise to you, because somewhere in the past you must have done the set. So that approach should come back to your head, and that time it should click. So that is what makes a difference. So if you can get the approach fast and solve it faster, you can crack the exam.
Okay, and what kind of notes did you compile for VARC? Do
For
you require notes for VARC section?
for VRC, I did not make notes exactly, but I had a repository of words and
That you
their
mentioned.
meanings. That was
Yes.
for the vocabulary, and
Yes.
for the grammar, I had made notes of all the 100 points from your Super 100 course. So
Right.
those points I used to revise, and those points I must tell all the students that it helps a lot in the OMETs, especially for NMAT and SNAP.
Yeah.
NMAT especially, I got a good score because of the grammar notes which I had referred. So that helped a lot, and it helps in the other exams as well.
All right, fine. So that's a big relief once again. See, he has advocated the YT session that you can definitely check, and he has also said he has vouched for Super 100. And yes, guys, the Super 100 is not for your what do you call it, CAT. It's definitely for OMETs, as he said. And yes, he also mentioned the notes that he had made from Ravi sir's classes for QADI and all. He spoke well about Anupam sir's genre series, which helped him familiarize himself with all the different types of RC passages. And of course, Himanshu Das's vocabulary classes for GMAT were a kind of phenomenal contributor to his success. So as you can see, Amey has been like the melting pot for so many things coming from different educators, and he has been that one person who was able to justify his subscription very well. Do you see that point? I mean, he had paid for it, so उसने सोचा मैं तो निचोड़ के ही रहूंगा. I mean, मुझे तो maximum number of educators pick करने हैं, मुझे तो score लेना ही लेना है. So this is what Amey did. Goans are supposed to be very smart, guys. I'm telling you. So this is another smart Goan. Look at that cute smile. All right, Amey. So this was we spoke about your strategy, we spoke about your daily schedule, your practice, and all. One last thing that I would like to know from you before we wrap up the session. How important are mocks and sectionals, and when should one start appearing for those?
Yes, ma'am. So actually, I have made a note of my mock scores for the students to know what exactly one goes through when one gives mocks. So I started with my first mock. It was on the 5th of August, my first mock, and I had got a 59 percentile in that, in the
Okay.
very first mock. And then I was giving mocks after every 2 weeks. From 59, I went to 68. and then to
Okay.
72. So in 1 month, I got a jump of 10 percentile by September. Then it came down to 64 again.
All
And then I
right.
came back to 82. So in a 1 month break, I went from 72 to 82. Then again, in the mid of October, it came down to 73. But then it again came back to 88. So slowly, I was progressing. Each month after month, I was having a 10% boost in my mock scores.
Mock
Then finally,
scores.
yes. And then finally, on November 17th, I had given my last mock in which I scored a 96 percentile. And after that, I went on to give my CAT exam.
So after
So
that,
even
yes, you
though
were
I
on a
had,
high note, ekdam high, and that's what
yes, ma'am.
everybody has. Okay, right,
Yes, ma'am. So even though I had a few downs during my mock scores, the
right,
overall trend showed an upward trend.
right.
So I would say keep building on your content knowledge and keep giving mocks, because that will actually
No,
tell
but
you where you stand.
here I would like to ask you this. See, sometimes you went down in the mocks, right? You said that
Yes,
once
ma'am.
or twice it dipped.
Yes.
Didn't you get demotivated by those mocks? Didn't you feel that, no, why is there inconsistency in my performance? Didn't you think that, okay, I'm going wrong somewhere? How did you console yourself?
So because I had got a lesser score, I analyzed the mocks more thoroughly. This is also a
Right.
very important part,
Yes.
because just giving the mocks is not enough. You give a mock for 2 hours, but you have to spend a whole day to analyze it. I would spend a day or even 2 days just to go through especially I had video solutions of these mocks.
Mm-hmm.
So for each RC, they would have a 1 hour solution for each
Mm-hmm.
RC. So I would watch the full 1 hour and try to understand what the approach of the author is and what
Okay.
their point of view is. So
Uh-huh.
that helped me a lot in solving the RCs, and also especially for LRDI, there'll be a 1 hour solution for each set. Spend that 1 hour and get to the bottom of it. Understand how to solve the questions. So mock analysis is a very important part, I feel.
Guys, I hope you heard him say that. This is something which educators keep saying to their students, that not just taking the mocks, but even the analysis part is extremely important, because I have seen many students harbor this attitude that, okay, you appear for the mocks, and then after that, okay, next wale mein, I have to appear for that. But what happened to the analysis? Did you sit and analyze what the problem was? No, many of you do not do that. So mock analysis, as he said, is very, very important. And he also said that he had started taking his mocks from 5th of August. That was not like very early in his preparation journey. It was, I think, in the actually the latter half of the journey. So it's not the quantity, but actually the quality that matters. That is what he said. So, Amey, overall, how many mocks did you take? Probably 20, 25?
Yes, around 20 plus minus 2 mocks.
Okay, so
20 mocks.
20,
Yeah.
20, 25, we would say, but with thorough analysis.
Yes.
Hope you
Yes.
heard that, guys.
Also, one more point that I would like to mention is,
Yes.
whenever you come across new problems in the quant mocks,
Yeah.
suppose there is a mixture of two new concepts which is combined into one question, I would suggest to make a note of those questions in your book so that you can use it for future reference. Because you might get a similar question in the CAT exam which can be
Yes.
solved from the same formula or the same approach. So that is one more thing that I used to do in the QA section.
Perfect. I think it has been an enlightening session with you, Amey. And guys, before I wrap up, I would like to say something to Amey. I have been observing things very carefully. I mean, generally, it so happens that I'm a keen observer, Amey. And you come across as a meticulous person, somebody who is very particular about the facts, somebody who takes his work seriously, and somebody who does a lot of homework before going on for any assignment, even if it was this interview. Why? Because when
Yes, ma'am.
Amey was telling us the mock dates and the scores and how it dipped and how it went up, I could make out that he had written some things on a piece of paper and he was referring to that. Now, I can't tell you how impressed I was by that, Amey. I really can't tell you. Because I have taken a lot of interviews also, so I always get impressed by students who do their homework and then come for the session. That shows their sincerity. So, Amey, I think this sincere aspect of yours, this extra particular aspect of yours, the craze in you to write down everything and be prepared for it, and you don't want to move up, you just want to be very particular, thorough. Guys, this is what helped this charming Goan to crack CAT with a whopping percentile. So I would say in the end, Amey has been consistent, persistent like crazy, okay, diligent, dedicated like hell, and yes, he did it in the end. Amey, before we sign off, would you like to pass on a message to the aspirants out there? One last message.
I would say put in the hard work, keep working hard, and you'll crack it.
Oh, perfect. So his message resonated with Unacademy's message. Guys, all of you, how's the Josh? Hi, sir. Let's crack it. Okay, we sign off on this positive note. So everybody is going to do well. Just chin up, keep working hard. And as I always say, put your best foot forward, leave the rest. वो जो है ना महाभारत में था, right? I mean, कर्म किए जा, फल की चिंता ना कर, right? So this is something which I really kind of binge on. I always say this to my students. Okay, guys, and Amey, it was really a pleasure, and it has been a very, very nice session. It was like, I think, yes, really enlightening session with you, because I came across somebody who has been very hardworking and somebody who has been balanced also at the same time. Okay, so all the very best for your future. Unacademy wishes you a great future ahead. Stay safe, stay happy,
Thank you so much.
Do well. And we sincerely hope that you get some campus life. This corona blows over and you get some good campus life. Otherwise, what's the point of spending so much money?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, guys. Chalo. All of you, we are signing off now. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.